I don't get why anybody cares about awards shows. You realize it's just someone else's opinion, right? Like, it's just someone picking their favorite stuff that they watched this year. And then, by having a platform that is an awards show, they just get more attention to the things that they like. I mean, it's not like anybody who nominates stuff or votes in these has seen everything that came out that year, and even if they did, their tastes aren't likely going to align with yours, and there's no reason that their opinion holds any more sway than anyone else. With the Academy Awards, for instance, they have this panel of judges who has a very certain taste in movies. The same kinds of movies always win Academy Awards, and you're never going to see the kinds of movies that maybe I like or even that you like, winning the Best Picture award or winning any awards sometimes. I mean, sometimes good movies do make it in, deserving movies make it in, but it doesn't mean that it's gonna be the best stuff or the stuff that you care about the most. It's been proven time and time again, for instance, that the Academy Awards don't really seem to care at all about animation. Animated stuff almost never makes it to the Best Picture award, and barely anything ever makes it even gets nominated into the Best Animation award unless it's one of the mainstream American films. And, we've had these instances of voters having all these horrific quotes saying things like that Song of the Sea and Princess Kaguya were Chinese fucking things and stuff like that. These infamous quotes that have gotten out there. That just goes to show that, like, if you care about animation and if maybe your favorite film of the year was an animated film, the Academy Awards aren't going to be helpful for you. They're certainly not going to take the things you care about into account. I just don't get why anyone would hold their opinions with more clout than other people's. And just as well for something like the Crunchyroll Awards. I mean, the nominations for this were picked by a panel of like 10 people, most of whom have probably not seen most of the good shows that came out this year, Like, one of the voters was LeSean Thomas, who's a cool guy. He's an animator who's, currently working with, like, Studio Trigger to get a project launched off the ground. Awesome. How much time do you think that guy has to watch all the anime that comes out in a year? Probably not a whole lot, And guys like that are picking these nominees, and, they're getting just voted on by the people who watch Crunchyroll, so obviously the winners are going to be what was the most popular on Crunchyroll, which means Yuri on Ice and ReZero, So it's hardly a surprise that these are the shows that are getting voted for in this contest. I just don't get why anyone would care. Why does anyone care about what a bunch of random people think that aren't connected to you, that don't even, share your outlook, think are the best shows that came out? Now, I think that it's really cool to watch individual people come up with their best of the year, because at least then you have context into who that person is and what they care about. I really love Your Movie Sucks when he does his year-end lists, which come out, long after the year's over, because he watches every noteworthy film that came out that year and, puts together a list of what he thinks are the best. His taste is nothing like mine. I don't agree with him almost ever on what he picks, but at least I understand why he picked them, because it's him. It's that critic who I follow, who I understand, and, seeing his picks can be really interesting. It's like an insight into what he cares about, and it can, help me to appreciate those movies even more, knowing that they're the kind of thing that he enjoys. So, I totally get that, looking to individuals, especially if there's someone whose tastes actually align with yours, then that can be a great way to get recommendations, If you're someone who generally likes my videos, then when I eventually put out a, Best Anime of 2016 list, you're probably going to find some things to enjoy out of it in a way that you're not necessarily going to get with something like the Crunchyroll Awards that are just voting for what's the most popular shows. Just don't get why people put so much stock in award shows to the extent that they get angry when something wins. I just put out this Yuri on Ice vlog, and there's all these angry people who hate the show simply because it took the Best Animation award away from Mob Psycho 100. Who cares? who was voting on this, you know? Not even all the stuff, like, all the shows with great animation this year, not all of them were nominated. Not all the shows that should have been in there were nominated. And, like, whatever won was just gonna be whatever's most popular. Yuri on Ice was watched by more people than Mob Psycho, you know? When I go into a poll, I just click on whichever one is my favorite of the ones I recognize. And if there's only one that I recognize, that's the one I'm going to vote for. So obviously Mob Psycho's not going to win if fewer people have watched it than Yuri on Ice. It's just basic shit. I don't understand how people can be mad about that. Just don't take those awards seriously, because they obviously shouldn't be. Anyways, that's not really why I wanted to make this video. That's just a clickbait. I wanted to tell you guys about why there hasn't been a lot of stuff posted on Digibro After Dark in the last couple of weeks, and where you can find more stuff that I have been working on, because this past week and a half has been RadCon 2. It's where me and all my friends from the Procrastinators podcast have been hanging out at my house and making tons and tons of shit and releasing it all over the place. If you don't know, if you only follow Digibro and Digibro After Dark, you're missing out, because I do a podcast show that's very prolific called the Procrastinators Podcast on the channel The Procrastinators. I also have a Let's Play show called Digibros, and those are sort of my other active channels right now. And I've also been collaborating with everybody in the PCP. So I've got this playlist on my main channel called Every Video Featuring Digibro. If you check that playlist like every day, there's always something new there, because I post so constantly. So I'm letting you know all this because most of the stuff that we filmed at RadCon will probably not be on my channels. Most of it will either be on the Procrastinators channel, or it'll be on the channels of my friends. So if you follow that playlist, you'll be able to keep up with all that stuff. We've already dropped well over 8 hours of podcasts from RadCon 2 on the Procrastinators. We had like a 5-hour Let's Play podcast, and then a 3.5-hour decompression podcast that I posted. And there's going to be a lot more of stuff like that. The Plebe and the Weeb Season 1 has just been finished filming. If you heard about the Kickstarter, if you saw the 3 pilot episodes, me and my friend Endless Jess, we filmed 10 episodes of it. Those are going to be posted on his channels. I don't know if it'll be My Japanese Animes or Endless Jess, but it'll be on one of those 2 channels. And, I'm going to make a whole redirect video when they start actually coming out. But yeah, if you want to keep up with all that stuff, you should be following these other channels, keeping up, follow my Twitter, I post everything on there. So yeah, just letting you know. That's why there hasn't been anything on Digibro After Dark. I've been working nonstop on this other shit, and there's just hours and hours and hours of stuff that we made at RadCon 2. Again, already 8 hours worth of podcasts are out. If you're someone who just wants to listen to me all fucking day, that's a great place to start. Me and my friends, rather. I do recommend the Decompression podcast. It was really fun. We talk a lot about light novels and my general thoughts on them in that one. And more stuff like that to come, so stick around, check all that out, and Digibro After Dark is going to get more active again because RadCon 2 ends today, and I'll finally have time to record and edit and post videos here. So thanks again for watching.